only obi ewo relationship really.
Okay.
It could be marriage or said maybe a courtship, boyfriend, girlfriend. Na bako enya sexual relationship outside the relationship na owo.
Okay.
For example, Obani Bema, Mawari, Okuni or ideal situation is you cannot have sex with any other person other than a partner now on our
On.
yes. And the moment now Oba and I said Bema and relationship outside on any kununa and I said or you in any kununa outside.
Okay.
Your fa cheating ankasa. Question me starts admitting cheating and say it's where me commodity no man farmer the opposite side. And likewise, the opposite side also one for the commodity armor. And to me,
Okay.
you see the word commodity as Berman, no, your commodity is commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And as from Oba side, no, the commodity, access to sex, right? Into from the cheating aspect itself, no, always society would look it through the woman's lens, but
Mm-hmm.
me for my frame, no, me who say if the woman securely protects her commodity, so no one gets access to it, and the man also obstructs people from accessing the commodity, then we don't have any cheating. So in several situations, you to me accuse Berman say maybe he has cheated because he visualize it based on sexual.
First one, I mean, me can say, yeah, one thing it me cause cheating your communication, lack of communication. Yeah, into no, I didn't mean kasa. Say incommodate between two parties, and with regards to your topic, you remain so Obani Bema. If
Yeah.
incommodate and share stronger. So most of the times, from my personal experience, when communication starts fading, then it gives room for for the possibility for cheating to set in from any of the parties' side. It's in communication here very, very important. It's at some point in a relationship, so realize this even marriage people say incommodie no so na enchese maybe hello hi keke o, but inkomo emudo because one party feel bibi na say on feel meka say on feel so obetimi aka chewa, then that means in that aspect meka say communication in home.
I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before the new. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game. Signed up for the hall of shame. I wish I knew how much I miss not knowing.
Good evening. Sam Makwaba, back inside TV. Emebra share adwumadie na wani guso a wohwe yi. Anwumre ya ba be din komo kakra. Afa ya na ya asetenam ahwe sane kwan a your relationship ne aware ebitimi agro kama. Na anwumre mabedwafo a me bedi enkomo no me wo kontinhene wa ha all the way from Germany. Emmanuel so ewa ha no so join free Germany. Michael joining all the way from Ghana, Jeffrey joining from USA. Maybe you're from Makwaba, eba emabreshi adwumadi so.
Ejo so nana.
Yeah,
Echia
nah,
wati
not
ho nyina.
Na adwumre komo eda pono so ne say you be heard what causes cheating. There na eje obi ne ne ge ne kunu ne yere ewo ho a oso afa machi. There na this ade ne ba. Esan say utietie nneɛma bebree a esisi a obi etimi hwe acid gu ne girl so anaa ne boy so a na ɛyɛ saa de no eti mabedwafo bɛboa na anwumre yi yɛde saa nkɔmɔ no ahwɛ nneɛma a ɛde saa cheating no eba a relationship anaasɛ aware mu. Na mefiri ase afiri Jima hɔ. Jima, ma yɛntie wo side ɛwɔ ɛyɛ topic a nwere yɛ discuss yi ho.
Yo, abuyafo. The church I'm in
Yɛgye wo so.
to ne the Jan Ochini Aquina or the Awam say. And so venture margin. Maybe can you share the definition of cheating?
Okay.
Cheating no Ubruni Kasa by Enfama Yakan Kasan.
Yɛka nkasɛm yeah.
Kaka FPS on the side.
Yɛntie wo.
Okay. Say cheating here Adibia. Only obi a relationship with you.
Okay.
It could be marriage or maybe a courtship, boyfriend, girlfriend. Na bako enya sexual relationship outside the relationship na a woman.
Okay.
For example, Bani Bema, Mawari, Okuni or ideal situation is you cannot have sex with any other person other than a partner now on our
Ɔne ne wɔ hɔ no.
yes. And the moment now Oba and I said Bema and Benya relationship outside on any kununa and I said or you're in any kununa outside. I just say Kadipa Kona own your relationship outside HT on the partner.
Okay.
And the same can be said about courtship. And that is
Okay.
the definition. Now, Yanko as to the reason here, these things do occur. Mostly, me can say, a Dambia Usibiana Engineer Foundation, the likelihood say from Madin Dimba, it will be very high.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a saying say, aware dodo, me fa aware dodo.
Okay.
So be obi odwamanfo a because odwamanfo obi a na ni je say obenya sexual escapade with a lot of people no say dey be in suman a most cases no the belief was that na aware esa sai yare no but say your suman a ehun say aware ntimi nsa enti it becomes part of the person enti nipa sa no relationship bi obokum bia no whether courtship or marriage no say it bia no obechiti because aben suman.
Okay.
So what I say probably maybe a idea be a what practice the childhood days and or the abewura relationship with you. And he said obejai no Eden into ba kwe suban.
I told you this place, you don't trust me?
Now another reason a bit me cheating aba no could be lack of love or mutual respect for each other. Love in what sense? Last na me tie Reverend Obofo me me no do do yenim no. O say oba so na ni dwon ho na say one no have sex kra na ye within a twinkle of an eye bon say no ho asane no. But from pewa obey the obey bia no masa enka no. Likewise remember some people are also of the opinion say that happens. Now what happens if the love is not there no? So that attraction there it me attract obi to me who and you know who na no kwado say anywhere odmo say ebia na ye won niema nketenkete bia ekoso sa rift no until the moment na rift no be ba no almost say the pakro is trying to find what do you call it refuge somewhere. My a typical example say I quite remember said there was this story about a certain man and a woman. Now the man is married.
Mhm.
Now the see and say oja ne yere ene ne ma ho ekotena baby. And also we sit down we talk cars or we sika papa bi. But also obefia that peace of mind na or the betena fie no. Na
Ebi ni
or
hɔ.
the family na enjoy no ebi ni ho. In search of the peace of mind no, they had to relocate from baby or no and now call a different place. Now no, he was slowly until he found a certain lady. Now lady no on that dime back more. Obi a was in the dime what's in the dime kesia kese almost a splash house. Or see he doesn't have peace there. But he found peace in a single room, not toilet and bath cleaning.
Okay.
And in the narration, it just said he enjoyed that kind of relationship. No one. It won't say what me though or living lavishly, but what me escape anya escape to be or baby or no flow or no yan refuge. Let me go out here.
Yeah.
80 one thing say sa love no so love I'm saying love in this case when there's love ordinarily no mubenya some last time who ni kwakwa no say ukondo say ni pay meaning baby but immediately say love no kono you don't the mind to even have that kind of sexual relationship with one Emma.
Emma.
Yes. It's a bonus and you begin to now search for where you will get that satisfaction from. What you say? And it's will
Yeah.
be to me that's to be a dear. Emma will be penasem, will be developing love with man almost naturally, no. Some more be compatible because when there's love, then there's compatibility. So naturally you are attracted to yourself. And when you're attracted to yourself, no, sexually you become it was a sexual bibia koyi. But so don't I tell you, the nipa corona on in one unya child on that is another thing I think. And one thing I'm person me adding answer na obu ha relationship no over mu na nkasa or the adwene bi na ewura mu ebia na sika so ati ase me I quite remember say na ye program bi ewo Koforobia and then lady bi said about obi a wanya 75 years them all wanya 75 years no akware akwala wanya 25 years just imagine say Obano ewo 25 years and a Beman what 75 years age gap near almost 50 years making Bema 7 predators and what in and what issue the man to be one in answer into what sexual satisfaction panel between the girl. So you can see say the girl is not in because of love, but she's in because of another thing.
Yeah.
And that thing, Bemano are very rich or very resourceful. You know, the Euras are already. The likelihood said, obey Befa Bema very high. Because at 25, I think only we don't know Johnny and so. Bema is only be a retirement. And they say, to me, any sexual satisfaction if you Bema, what is likely to happen? What is likely to happen is that Obefanechi, I compare satisfaction or baby. It was a Bema no your friend is Otia. Na the old you know so
After the chile baby.
Monkey the work.
Oh no, to me your money. What you say? That is another thing I feel say. To me, a also cheating. See, young comrade probably maybe
Let us Jima be near be swam ye huna. And common I de or be break can best have an hobby. Some remember continue on me continue society. Say, because causes of cheating, a dear part of the sad and ever.
Okay, not sure. Medase. And medase so say me chat with your phone ya.
Material for any also.
Ne. And my happy say me share Michael ne Ima and the other guys. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Into me the cheating, the master tier free say, Omeka say cheating, you know. Porto Kasim, Omeka say cheating is not just about the act, a symptom. Well,
Okay.
and it just say, they be answer be behind, you know. bibi hyehyɛ aseɛ. Oh, inti ɛno na Michael wakyerɛ mu pii no. It could be emotional disconnection, lack of communication. But me free another angle about
Okay.
yɛfa cheating nankasa a, question me starts admitting cheating and say it's where me commodity no man farmer the opposite side, and likewise the opposite side no so one for the commodity armor. And to me
Okay.
you see the word commodity as bema no your commodity is commitment,
Mm-hmm.
and as from oba side no the commodity access to sex, right? Into from the cheating aspect itself, no, always society would look it through the woman's lens, but
Mm-hmm.
me for my frame, no, me who say if the woman securely protects her commodity, so no one gets access to it, and the man also obstructs people from accessing the commodity, then we don't have any cheating. So in several situations, you to me accuse Berman say maybe he has cheated because he visualize it based on sexual side,
Mm-hmm.
but not anti sample with this side. So there's also some angular me pick it from. So mine will be very brief. Na me tie the akano na later no. We continue from there. Yeah.
Very deep and also coded
Yeah.
because commodity no yɛbɛba na wa elaborate ne ma wabibie mu ma ama yɛate ase. Because a code and here encrypting key no later. Na
True.
Yuma mara hɔ na yɛtie also side ɛwɔ cheating ho. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, what's Minka?
Yeah,
Sure.
don't.
Sorry, na me mic no off. Yeah, me the wasipa, me the wati for so ase.
For
Yeah,
also.
abajafo aka bia, and I'm really happy say ye nyina say you drink obenkrom and potokasa me see great minds think alike. Nti utimu say nsem na ye nyina ye share no ebi ewurawura ebi die mu. Yeah. Nti me so no meka say eye niema bebree.
Mm-hmm.
But with this round, and I'll just give one. Into Chino, Ukoba na me de Niamiwana Atwaso.
Okay.
The first one, I mean, me can say, yeah, one thing it me cause cheating your communication, lack of communication. Yeah. Into no, other na me kasa, say, incommodity between two parties, and with regards to your topic, you remain so bani bema. If
Yeah.
Omunkomodie and shada stronger. So most of the times from my personal experience, when communication starts fading, then it gives room for for the possibility for cheating to set in from any of the parties' side. It's in communication here very, very important. It's at some point in a relationship, so realize this even marriage people say incommodie no so na enchese maybe hello hi keke, but incommodie mudo because one party feel bibi na say on feel meka say on feel so obetimi aka chewa, then that means say in that aspect meka say communication in here because so only obi wo ho I wouldn't say everything because like I said, I'm taking it to extreme, but there should be a possibility say at least mubetimi di bibi ahon komo.
Yeah.
Because relationship is not just about the rosy parts. Say maybe there will always be good times, and then one can be going through hard times, and you always have to communicate because the other person is there to or a shoulder for you to lean on during hard times. Because utimi one bibi mu so catch or partner and some of catch and I say encouragement and I say even advice or the bema or crampo no, it helps you to take one decision or the other. But the moment communication starts fading, because when in the background din comma, then literally what bonds you? So into yaman say oh partner or now no partner in din comma, and then when in din comma, no, that means literally money bibia a bonding mo. Mun din comma, you don't even communicate once in a while. No one check up on you. Once in a while, no one check up on you. And in a situation like that, it gives room for the possibility for cheating to setting.
Okay.
Yeah. One major cause of cheating, communication. I mean, it's not a silver bullet, but I can say it's a lack of communication. Yeah, and then I made the for at this time. Now, in the next way, the other way reasons I may also account, but the original so initially communication. Yeah, it does.
And not my economy can be big for
Okay.
manual
Okay.
points.
Yeah,
Well, this is very important point. And
Yeah.
critical
yeah,
Okay.
in the sense to say it is highly possible. I learned about a story via one kind of radio show. Immediately you mentioned the communication, and my mind got to that end. Okay. The woman had lived in a relationship with the husband for 35 years.
Okay.
There was sex therapy. I'm saying our program also. The conclusion I'm drawing is say for a 35 years now, only Berman at Nano, or Bani Richie orgasm that.
good.
I say on Richie orgasm, though the man fire, but on Richie orgasm that. And what could be cause of this? It's communication, as Emmanuel said. That's how they say, is it sex? Hey, I chef on the put on the back burner. But in a relationship, it is one very important aspect of relationship. If
Bonding
there's a
agent.
good sex, yes, if there's good sex, the likelihood say the relationship will thrive, very high. I also mean, I said, yeah, and it's not built on a solid foundation. The likelihood say, and one of the solid foundation you can make is good sex with you and your
Okay.
partner, and therefore there's a need to be that communication. Say, and Kwame Ankoye, huh? You should be able to tell Kwame, say Kwame Ankoye.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that. You should be able to tell Kwame, say these are the things I like when it comes to sex, provided say it's legal and it's permissible.
yeah,
You should be able to tell your partner, say these are the things I like during sex. And there could be health issues, right?
Yeah.
Health complications. Okay. You should be able to discuss that. Oh, probably maybe this time I don't see things well. And Kwame, I don't see things well. You should be able to tell yourself these things and find remedies. Because at some point you certain things can affect your performance.
Bema Chris, you see Kasam crack off from it to me.
yeah,
Hello?
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah, talk, huh?
and no quaridie is very important. What was that? Obuoha on Kanokre. Some people forge orgasm. They act, right?
Mm-hmm.
They pretend as if the thing they are, but in actual fact, the person is not enjoying it. What I say? But or
Okay.
shut down, as if say the thing is enjoying it. If you want to the background, say onyanya, bibi onya satisfaction you are be enjoy. What I say? It is very
Yeah.
important. Say, and one thing for myself as an I'll use my experience. In fact, remember the brain and the man is saying,
Mm-hmm.
the man is saying, because the ladies are mostly introduced to this kind of things at the early stage and we the men. And in most
Yeah.
cases, no man, I'm going to introduce you to some of these things. You get the point I'm making. Because my parents got same feeling. In fact, your neighbor know almost all international show. And you just imagine, say, no more about so work perform. You go to them, you got okay. And then when you go to them, you just imagine you can just imagine what goes on there. What
Mhm.
they are. And a lot of people too have also gone through these things. What I'm saying here is that, you see, by the time I even time to courtship or this, huh? And then
Yeah.
when you have so many partners, the experiences might be different. You get the point? And anka ideally, anka say you into relationship, ideally the ideal situation should be that with the two of us should be virgins. Because me a virgin, once you're a virgin, you say, come on, you tasty be that you said it. And they said it be you be fun. At my point now say. But in
Yeah.
most cases, now I'm going to go into it. Now, I can't probably work as I say, I did be a ura. Nemo, the run on Sabe Canona, Adena bread.
Yeah.
Yes. What they see, a lot of sizes. A bit yes, so a bit yes, sir. So I said, a be a long distance, a little short distance. What they see in a unfortunately, over here, a chairman,
Una na
chairman,
kasa no.
distance, ne deɛ nso deɛ watesi na akɛse na watesi nyina ne deɛ nso a you get it. So obviously you might not get that kind of satisfaction and now wonya or baby. And when that happens, now it becomes a problem for the relationship. And the likelihood say Obano so nya obefa echi. And I say oh yeah bema. Also what is the different type? Obi ama me kai man for back be also there's this lady then I need you. Girl no emu ade okasa by heart. There are ladies bra wo ase ba abranti abra bo mo anfo ma yehwe. Ne mo gay mu adiem. Onfa di pan yehwe. Na odo no chen amaka. Enti yehwe ma e dey answer. No say say dey unua no bo dwuma no ma unua na anige. What is the making? Eti the point I'm making na say sankasa sexual mostly it is meant at a certain stage of our life. Until we do ananka, we a virgin, we feel virgin, anka moshamu. Come on, said you tibia no ne ebedi ni sa. As I call out on for. Ah, and then you move your higher mind so cry before we. For the baby, no only with the anibia can for it no for the end to an extent. By any baby, I bedu ya tesi dokuno, ya tesi benku, ya tesi fufuo. So it's an opa, ya mammy no phone, so ya need to say, yeah, baby, I know me, opa, then fine brain, yeah, no. The same thing applies with sex in relationship. So the more we go into different sexual relationships, I watched a certain movie, the time I'm on campus. I say the life of the American teenager.
Okay.
We need to but it's such a nice high school movie. Well, the certain guy is into on the sex and the orphan say and what I learned from that movie is that when you do that, you end up you see you don't even have love. You don't even know what is love at the end of the day. Because there's a bit of everybody in you. What I say at the end of the day, you don't even know what you're actually looking for. And when that happens, you end up making the wrong choice. What I say. And when you make the wrong choice, and it enters into marriage, it becomes deadly for the marriage. The marriage will never be sustainable if God doesn't come in. So, my advice for youth never, Sebi, multiple partners, and the chest away that doesn't show. It rather hurts you at the end of the day. You get into your marriage and you see, say, no, you're having a lot of problems.
Wow.
So, that is one thing that we should watch out for.
Wow. Come on, I then I said, okay, Miss
Yeah.
Imam, I remember Miss Senior might be US. I say, na yere say woman good says no one no aduane kura bi mu ama ne wi ase kura oni problem.
Very true.
The Gmail can true say and also you're part of a year ede chitni bana ima brem na wi anama ka asem
Yeah, me put the na me person me de bibi kakra to ane no kind of so.
Okay.
Me kai say minim some Ghanaian lady be called China or Wari China ni, but
Okay.
or the kind Wari will fee answer. Anna Wari will fee no, and then maybe later as a money car baby was saying or meet China and I mean there were times where she was having problems in her relationship. Just send it not a ye can Jamaica
Yeah.
in with regards to sex and stuff like that. And then the urge to even cheat was very high. She
Okay.
felt like if she was close to baby or bit me, I me too be on bit me because send a Jamaica she can feel the difference. She used to date Nikromni and as well date Obi Ofikro for so and still no onya certain cano. And it was really this was something that na ehano. So near Jamaica near really true. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens in real life. I didn't for Famupa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me already ibisa na guy bi also on the boss na papa no e wo yere eti saa na wɔsan wɔ girlfriend ya wahan ayi frat ama no na time biara no sɛ papa no ne ɔpɔn adwuma a papa no ɛyɛ dɛ ɛkɔ hɔ ansa na wakɔ fie but na ɔne ne nkɔ ɛhɔ da na ɛda a ɔne ne kɔɔyɛ ɔhwɛ abayewa bi ne fiafia bi ya ɔno n'ani so no deɛ kɔ ɔde ne compare papa no yere no a ka papa no yere no gyina mu kama nso wɔnhu deɛ nti a nti ɔse ɔmo kɔɔyɛ a papa no tena akonnwa mu a na akora no bɛtena papa no nan so na ɛsrɛ baako so na afei wakoto ayi ne lace aworɔ mpaboa no na waworɔ ne mpaboa no nti ɔhwɛ deɛ ɔyɛ papa no ɔse wɔto nso asa abayewa no mfɛle o na ɔkisi no na ɔyɛ ne sei owie so wasa bɔ jollof kama ya ɔno koraa ankasa di adanse sɛ jollof no odiiɛ no deɛ ne gya wo nti wohwɛ saa nneɛma no nyinaa no a na kyɛ sɛ deɛ abayewa no yɛ no maame no nyɛ dɛn ɛntumi nyɛ bi nti na ama papa no ni ayɛ dɛn aka ɛkɔ ɛwɔ hɔnom nti saa nneɛma no nyinaa aka ho na ɛde saa
anocha somehow can say about communication as ma me kind so imagine say sankomo kasa pa because untimi nya obi a owo bibia out of the box so
yeah, sure.
it's a man no ne re entimi nya ne ana ne lady ne yema ne ne fa nka even before nka obekọ lady no ho na didn't know ne ne ntimi nkasa nka say ade we say eye me oya ade we mami a eye me fe ana say I really like it's on ne nkasa because literally Osha efie deɛ titifoɔ no ɔmo some lifestyle bi wɔ ha and also some way kakra because they say no when he ne yere ba kɔ this uncommon which all boils down to communication. I mean I wish your generation there we don't bring those restrictions to our relationship because only obi wɔ hɔ a only no wɔ hɔ adenti na obesuru sɛ obetumi aka asɛm akyɛ nipa korɔ. You know, you can get someone with everything out of the box, but at least say now can say otimini ne yiri di hu nkomo normal ne yiri hu so ade we say o yema me good one ne yiri betima ya sa de na man on hwehwe say obi for ne be akoya man no kra it will end up say someone will be called echo out and okay. Chiti with obi for yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yɛdi nkɔmmɔ no bebree na nkɔmmɔ no ayɛ dɛ Kinsa TV no ani gu so a wohwɛ mabunu ahyire a yɛdi nkɔmmɔ afa the causes of cheating ho adeɛ a ɛde cheating ɛba na yɛdi ho nkɔmmɔ konti hene ma yɛnti o na wode wo last words atoa so ama yɛn
nti me de me last words na sɛ earlier na me de mpɛ sɛ yɛhwɛ mu more of cheating sɛ it means differently in both words but causes no the main cause of cheating in our era no yeah this digital age a woman no mekai yeah nkola na yo girl bi wo yen area o na your friend aku no ho fefefe ba me sure say aku na whole life nya no na nkofo 20 pen na beka cha na say you are very beautiful but now we live in this digital era where obaka bo na nim say bompo but because sabi obe posti na Obetumenya almost 2,000 likes, and this also provides this abundance mindset for both parties. Bemano ne obano, enti am very prone because yeah very less resistant. Into those
Okay.
times like obe compromise a lot no. Now no, you don't have the time because you have so many opportunities out there. Into bon say one shot aku, she was governed with one shot area what kumana. Now in this digital area, no be who be what kumana. So now obika Dubai is Senepe. And so
Yeah.
with the high opportunity, makes both of us very, very less resistant and less tolerant to cheat. And the last thing I'm going to become, because team now P would be also self-esteem. Unconsciously, Obia will some self-image they have about them. And mostly, say, ono would date baby once in a while, or per se, or feel a powerful feeling bio, and this trigger the more say okuchitia, then we have this energy say, oh, other people also want me, just to feel the low self image. And then both ways it drives us to cheat. So we my last words having back their panel so I can
Yeah, that's it. And come on, I had the way just introduction now. You better to us will be now. Yeah, into more details, courses, and this answer a dozen. Now, another ye be any kakra. This one, sorry, Jima, Michael,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
my TO last words.
So, that one. And see, on my last question, I said, that the causes no endorsing there are multiplicity of issues. But then I believe, sir, in all of this, prescribing solution also in some way. So, and see, said the Emmanuel kind communication
Okay.
is key. Key, because at the end of the day, it's only if I call a relationship partner 7%. Relationship no it's not that, then there's a need for communication. Now, there's one thing about communication. You see, when it comes to communication is about encoding and then decoding.
Yeah.
Now, say one party the inability to decode the OB account and a problem. I don't know say a point I'm making it yes, yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Say we make
Communication,
points.
yes, over two will be as into say,
Yes, you understand? No, one two it becomes a problem for the relationship, and therefore it also affects your sex life because if you make a point, if a condom person obey no what say, oh no what you say, oh this is really the issue. For example, say Obama was small manhood, the manhood is very small, tiny, into now they know in fact there's nothing I can do about it, isn't it? There's very little I can do about it, right? But we should be truthful in our communication. But I should understand, say, from her perspective, for unknown perspective, that is really the that is really the issue, right? And the point I'm making is we should also be willing to listen and try to understand the DNA so yeah, the free ego, the brinano and cloudy judgment. Then say me call I be an amo adwa ho say me okay nti ask about can dey but also maybe on also free back. You get the point I'm making. At the end of the day, the two of us should be able to communicate freely, and then we should be able to understand the feedback now ever. Then we work on the feedback. The GDA said in working on the feedback, we are solving your problems. So my relationship is so
There's a communication, Ebwa. It's a feedback a bit to me. I mean, I solve problem be our relationship. yɛda ase ɛne wo submission no. Yima, may I your last words?
Yeah, anoche me da ase sɛ wɔma me akwanya. Nti no me very happy say abadwafo like in the last words no your program no we don't only talk about courses no but in your communication no directly or indirectly we also try to talk about nneɛma a yɛbɛtumi ayɛ a yɛde bɛsi ano kwan te sɛ ne yɛka communication no yeah until you can see say it's in atwa ha into hwɛ a even though say you're pointing out say na course no through your explanation ni nneɛma bi account mu say ya akwan nneɛma bi wɔ a wode tutu akwan mu so a wobɛtumi de your solutions to that problem.
Yeah.
Nti communication na me raise here no abadwafo a aka bebree afa ho nti m'ani agye paa. But the last thing I'm de begyaw yɛtie for yɛ commitment and maturity.
Okay.
You know, me who said personally from a fear I could tell say within my cycle people just went into relationship, and let me not say it's a relationship, let me even take it further. My because at that point you know say it's very it's a big step. It's a marriage. Nkrofo kɔ aware mu just because on person marry na nkrofo hu so marry. So until they don't go into it with the commitment, with the maturity. I saw it like because me they be can say no matter how bad I may can so I can try as human because nyankopon boa me say me worry a ade e fe ne say obechiti or partner ho ana say we dey nyankopon masa nso hwe ne empare me. Because if you are bold
Amen,
enough so
oh.
amen oh me can because me be man meaning say the temptation there it doesn't have to necessarily come from me, it can come from come from an external source. Well, but I'm not minimum crofo no ma worry all in the name of our area, but maturity nini ho, commitment nini ho, they only did it for society to see say o ma worry shekawa. Nti no obi say say maturity nini or commitment nini ho, we then obi chiti. Because
Yeah.
I mean I grew up around friends who said say bema they normal say oh they bema they worry so bema they so fine thing. How? So say obi was our mindset we know the engineer. What shows say our so nye mplantua no aduru and say nye cheating no aduru. So untimi ka say me twan am ko drum and maka say I mean me nye biom. I mean imagine so obi was our mindset we sorry. That ben ana na adwun kwasisa wa aware mu. That ben na adwun kwasisa. Nti na me de bedwa abegyafo ne say one of the and my second course me pointing out here commitment and maturity. Nti it's good say ye nyini no I mean say age no crank for the worry because it's very good sanka with me worry in your early 20s crank no say bibia you find out me worry I mean no or partner mo be enjoy my marriage life for very very good but be someone say are you matured enough because me auntie be in the one of the rooms you know they all around the house and the inscriptions have but one of the room no say our an institution, and then we run that institution with money. We don't get money out of our area by the money in the room.
Okay.
So to say, yeah, you see, came from anya our area now doing say, and I would the young say so because I know doing sika obenya from the wedding I say, and I say, I don't put the say wedding now wedding ni twemu so. Eduane automa nkwala, eduane automa ready. Niema how to keep the house running. Enya sika awodi shema you expect that money enya ho na akwa akopem fa so efio. Nti bisa won say ansa na be wate say man no cry omo pushy and push men obi wo ha or no I'm not being hard on the ladies but me cannot to that extent some person pointing out say even obi betima wa ware mu ana oba no chiti just because onye content with what the husband e give you. Well, and so one making one now pushy bema no so uncle ware no inside in the state in the financial state and our ware no so no more no and no crampo the more financial burden beba so into ho na obo hu sa afi wonya kwanta ya so bema no kra wa ware no kra no onhwe say because nkwalaba still na no opuli and so and said am kwase ne ekọ because I mean one no crampo no there are two mouths to feed number the third person about account into maturity need dear and need dear say wo de wo nyine kra na obenya panyimi ko madam fo bia ware ase osofo ne say wo ba be ware no hu say first na nkwa na ote a wan hwa odware na wo tawo na wato ato dem mfa ho bon ba oni obi na ekwa akote na wan hwa nipa kro ni suban opa no odware kro mfata wo freedom nti no maturity is what will even help you to know say so oba na be man na obefa you find a good way to tell the other person say oh unim ade way next time nka ofa you say if you are not mature enough ubekwa kwa attacking it because so you're wrong thing and bibi umpe. But maturity will let you know so oh you find a very good way your teacher bibeka say you give feedback in a very nice way oh yeah utawo no yeah we are the pan so dware people ho ntem pan but into no ukushi na kakra o some nice thing into we are the bat neighbor now the way neighbor as what commending it it's not coming in a harsh way because obi ampe so ube kind of it's ade a we dey me fe pan o dware o pepa ho pan say na what can something really we are now but ka be yanka tawo no na say yemfa hata ha sei ana we dey yenja no oba atwum ho say very nice into maturity and commitment and na me de be bata me other point na me mind no say yemfa into yekotodwe mu na mboa na cheating in relationship no esonte me da wati for nyina so ase.
Yeah, that's it. Communication, maturity, and commitment. So, and yama me and saying, and I was say a bomb or didn't say, yeah, be yeah, who you my our relationship because I'm not ma cheating ever until it me who you my ye the another say your relationship bit me I grew hurt. Madam Ojo for say, wow, I can do some so yeah, that was it. One subscriber and one subscriber, and one share my new be any be now and come on anyway. We asase e be san to aso na
ye ne man be di nkomo next week man be ba
almost side of ayi e wo cheating on na yes ya boys na nkomo so ayede eti mo weja for madam ase se mo je bre na mo ma ye
anachi adase na nse me share on call for so yep
me call for je so mo weja for je so
yeah.
But I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss.